Welcome back, investors. My name is Dominic, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Lion Electric stock trading under the ticker symbol LEV. It's going to be a great video. In fact, it's going to be my first video back on YouTube in over 2 months, and I'm excited to talk about a stock that I have talked about in the past, and it's a stock, LEV, that I've been excited about for months now, and it's a stock that's actually in my portfolio that I'm the most bullish on for the future. So I'm excited to talk about it. In today's video, we're going to be talking about their first quarter earnings report. I'm going to be going over some major news and some major announcements from the company. And of course, I'll be giving my due diligence behind the company itself, why I believe in Lion Electric, and I will be giving you guys my future price predictions along with my own due diligence, as I said earlier, and why I believe in Lion Electric and their future. It's going to be a great video. You do not want to miss it. Please subscribe down below if you're new. Like the video as always. Turn on post notifications, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so as you guys can see on my screen, this is LEV's current price. It's $19 a share. I'm recording this video on Sunday evening before the market opens. I want to get this video out on Monday. So as you guys can see on the daily chart, things have been chaotic to say the least. On the 6th, we had a really bad red day. We went from about $17 all the way down to $15.70. And then of course we had our merger on the 10th, which was May 10th. This was a Monday. And as you guys can see on the merger day, we had a price range of about $20 all the way down to about $17. So that's about what, a 10-15% swing in one day. Like, there's a lot of price volatility during that day and during merger. And after the merger was complete, we saw a couple red days. We went all the way down to $13, and I was scared, guys. Of course, I believe in Lion Electric in the long term. I did not sell anything. In fact, I bought more in the dip at around $14.50. But I can't lie to you guys, when I saw the share price was starting to hit $13, I was honestly not too happy. My portfolio was red, and my biggest investment, which was Lion Electric, was red as well, and I was not in the best mood. However, guys, I do still believe in them long term. I did not sell any. As I said, I actually bought more in the dip at $14.50. And as you guys can see, on the 14th, we started climbing back upwards, and then on the 17th, which is right here, the Monday, the very first Monday, they had their very first quarter earnings report, their very first earnings report in the stock's history. And it was great. It was great. In fact, it was so good that we see this run up over the past 5 days because they announced some very, very major news in this first quarter earnings report. And there was a lot to like from the report as well. So I do want to get into that right now. So I'm going to scroll up just a little bit. And this is off their press release, so you guys can actually look at this as well. I will link it down in the description below if you need it. And the title is Lion Electric announces their first quarter 2021 results following a successful public listing. And some of the highlights here talk about their deliveries, their revenue, their gross profit, things like that. And to be honest, Lion Electric is still a growing company. Their actual financials aren't too important right now because, of course, they only delivered 24 vehicles. So because they only delivered 24 vehicles in the first quarter of 2021, there's not too much to talk about. They had revenue from those 24 vehicles of $6.2 million, which is up compared to the first quarter of last year. But again, it's not really too big of a deal because they're still a starting company. It's still in the early stages in terms of growing and developing. So you can't really get too mad at them or you can't take their earnings report too seriously here because, again, their EBITDA is negative $5.9 million. That's really not a lot of money, especially for a company that's valued at $3.8 billion from a market cap. So again, like as I mentioned earlier, their financials aren't too important. But here's what is important, right? I have it highlighted here for you guys to see. First off, their vehicle order book has 817 all-electric vehicles. That has a total order value of $225 million. And this is quite a lot. $225 million might not seem like too much, but you have to remember that Lion Electric has an enterprise value of about $3.2 billion. So $3.2 billion divided by $225 million. Honestly, if you look at the percentage wise, I think that's about what, 5%. So about 5% of their market cap is coming from this total order value book right here of $225 million. That's very, very big. That's 817 vehicles. I wonder if they do include the 817 vehicles from this order right here, which is actually something that really started this run up here on the 17th. And this is why the run up has continued. And it's because, as you guys see highlighted in pink, Lion Electric secured an order of 260 school buses from a company called First Students. 260 school buses. This is the most important takeaway from this first quarter earnings reports. But again, I'm not going to talk about it yet. I'm going to go into it a little bit later on in the video. So stay tuned for that. I want to continue talking about their earnings report, obviously. But this is what's going to catch your attention, and this is what was the most important reason for investors to become bullish or even more bullish on Lion Electric, and that's what drove the share price up. So another thing I want to highlight is that Lion Electric delivered their first 10 Line 6 trucks to Amazon this quarter. They said that shortly after the end of the first quarter, they delivered 10 Line 6 trucks. And as you guys know, that's very, very important because Lion Electric has a contract with Amazon that's worth about $1.2 billion in itself. And as I guys mentioned earlier, they have a current enterprise value of $3.2 billion. So that's actually over 33%. That's over a third of their enterprise value is just in one contract with Amazon. It's very, very important. In fact, Amazon can redeem warrants for about 20% of the company as well. So guys, I mention it all the time when I talk about Lion Electric. This contract is the most important. So because they're delivering these vehicles, this is something that makes me bullish on them because they're delivering the vehicles and hopefully they're satisfying Amazon and Mr. Jeff Bezos so that Lion Electric can maybe get even more orders. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm still very, very bullish and positive for Amazon's future along with Lion Electric's future as well. The final thing I do want to highlight from their business updates reports is that their long-term strategy, they say, has made significant progress. They said that they announced their site selection for the U.S. manufacturing facility, which I believe their U.S. manufacturing facility is going to be in Illinois. Along, they launched their battery plant and innovation center, and they had funding of over 100 million Canadian dollars that came from the governments that they do not have to pay back. It's a forgivable grant essentially, so they don't have to pay the money back. It's a win-win for the Canadian government. They get to support a local business creating zero-emission vehicles, and Lion Electric gets to help out their government and create zero-emission vehicles as well. So it's a great, great partnership between the Canadian government, the Quebec government, and Lion Electric. And it's another reason why I'm so bullish on Lion Electric's future. Alright, so I foreshadowed this earlier. I talked about the 260 all-electric school bus order, and this is why it's so important, and it's going to be highlighted right here for you guys. This is the largest order of school buses by a single customer in Lion Electric's history. They're saying that the order will make First Student the largest operator of zero-emission school buses in North America, and that deliveries will take place beginning in the second half of 2021, which is of course this year, and it will continue through the first half of 2023. So it's going to take about 2.5 years for the deliveries to finally go through completely. Once again, you got to remember that's 260 trucks. That's quite a lot of vehicles for them to make. If I scroll down just a little bit, another thing that I did highlight is that they're saying that the Lion Energy team, which is another department of Lion Electric, will strategically work with First Student for the selection and installation of necessary infrastructure. This is also important because Lion Electric is not only making revenue from the vehicles, but they can hopefully create sustained revenue from the charging infrastructure that they will be creating with First Student for them to charge these electric school buses. As I said earlier, actually, I'm going to point this out here in the earnings report. They have a total order value for Lion Energy of about $800,000. I expect more revenue to come from the Lion Energy team through this partnership with First Student as well. That's something I haven't seen a lot of YouTubers or really any other investors talk about. It's not really too important, but it is important to note that they're creating revenue from multiple streams of sources or multiple sources, right? Not only from creating the vehicles, but also from creating the infrastructure as well. And this is just a very, very important press release, a very, very important announcement. Both of these came out on the 17th of May, as you guys can see. And since then, we have been up quite a bit since then. We had a high of about $19.44 on Friday. As I'm recording this video on Sunday, it's around $19. And by the time you're watching the video on Monday, hopefully it's up even further higher. Maybe we see a red day or kind of like a stalemate day, a stale day. But at the end of the day, I said day a lot over the past like 4 sentences. So I'm going to take a break here. No matter what, Lion Electric is still a great long-term investment. And here's why, guys. Let's talk a little bit about their fundamentals before I end today's video. So for starters, Lion Electric has an equity value or a market cap of $3.8 billion. Of course, when you subtract their debt and add their cash, which is actually negative, you get an enterprise value or, just enterprise value. The total value, their valuation is $3.2 billion, about $3.2 billion. And what I use to actually calculate if a stock is cheap or undervalued is I compare their EV to sales ratio to their competitors. So EV to sales stands for the enterprise value divided by their sales for the year, which is their revenue. So you take the enterprise value, you divide it by the revenue for that year, and you get a number. And the number you want is normally between 1 to 3. And as you guys can see here, the numbers here for their competitors are much higher than Lion Electric. Lion Electric has an EV to sales ratio for 2023 of about 1.9x. Arrival, which is another competitor, is 2.1x. Proterra is 3.8x. And Tesla is 8.1x. And all of these different companies are creating either semi-trucks or school buses to compete with Lion Electric. And as you guys can see, Lion Electric LEV has the smallest EV to sales ratio, which means that they're cheaper than the competitors. That's what you want to look into for a company. Same thing here in 2024. Lion Electric is 0.88, Arrival's 0.8, Proterra's 2.2, and Tesla's 6.7. So again, Lion Electric is cheaper here as well. Along with their EV to EBITDA ratio, basically you take their enterprise value, divide it by their expected EBITDA for the year, you get a number. And as you guys can see, Lion Electric is 4.5, Proterra is 16.7, Tesla 74.9, and it looks like Arrival's not even going to be profitable by then. So as you guys can see, Lion Electric fundamentally, in terms of comparing them to their competitors, is cheaper. They're the better investment, and on top of that, guys, they have the first movers advantage in the market. They have the first movers advantage. They're the first company to come out with all electric semi-trucks, class 6 and class 8, and they're also one of the first companies for school buses as well. When you compare them to Arrival and Proterra, Lion Electric is ahead in all capacities, right? They have the highest manufacturing capacity so far of 2,500 trucks. They're building their battery plant right now, and they're also building their U.S. manufacturing facility as well in Illinois, as I mentioned earlier. So their manufacturing capacity is only going to continue to increase, and it's just a very, very promising investment in my opinion. Now, of course, I want to state that I am not a financial advisor. Everything you just heard in this video is not financial advice. I'm just a guy who likes to talk about stocks on YouTube, so please take my words with grains of salt. However, guys, these are just my thoughts on Lion Electric and why I believe in them as a company. If you did enjoy today's video, please subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate all the support. Like the video as always, turn on post notifications, and I'll see all of you guys in the next one. Peace.